Have you ever seen a beautiful neckline dress and you wondered, what neckline is this? Or do you struggle when you are drafting neckline for your clients? Well, in today's video, I have 13 different neckline styles that I'm going to show you how to cut it. If you are ready to improve your neckline drafting, let's get into the video. It's Lina Fashion Hub. It's Lina Fashion Hub again. We are going to start with a V neckline. So when it comes to any neckline, you start off with marking the neck width. So I just marked the neck width. The neck width is 3.5 inches, and for the neck depth, I'm going to use 6 inches for the neck depth. Please know that these numbers I'm going to use are just based on the video that we are creating, just for explanation's sake. It doesn't mean that all your neckline, when one sees this design, that it must be these numbers. So this number can change based on how wide your neck is or how deep your neck is. So you just mark your neck depth and mark your neck width and then connect it, and that is your V neckline. The V neckline automatically carries a V shape, so that is how it looks like. So our next neckline, neckline number 2, is the scoop neckline. So the scoop neckline, sometimes you can see this in a polo. You first of all mark your neck width. As I said, we use 3.5 inch, which is the basic for neck width. Then the depth, we are going to make use of 5 inches for the depth. So this neckline, sometimes you find them in polo or you find them in English dresses. Okay, so we'll just bring down our neck width line, right, like so, and we now connect it to our neck depth, which is 5 inches. So after connecting it and forming that square, we'll go ahead and curve out one side. The edge of it, will just make a gentle curve at the edge. So the scoop neckline has a U shape. That is the difference between this scoop neckline and your normal round neck. So I went ahead and cut it out, and we labeled it scoop neckline, and that is our U-neck scoop neckline. The next neckline is our cowl neckline. Okay, so for this neckline, we are going to use the slash and spread method. When it comes to this neckline, you use the slash and spread method. So it depends on the part where the cowl is, right, and how the much drape that the cowl have. But you can slash it at this point, which is 1 inch below your armhole depth. You can slash it at that point, or once you slash it, you spread it as much as you would want it to drape in front of your clothes. Okay, so this spread is enough for our picture, the picture that is on the page that we use. But if you are not spreading it at that point, you can as well spread it at halfway into your armhole. Okay, so if you also spread it, you open it as much as you need based on the drape you have in front. All right, so our next neckline is our square neckline. This one is self-descriptive. So we are going to mark our neck depth, our neck width, which is 3.5, and for the neck depth, I'm going to use 5 inches for the neck depth. So at the neck depth, I'm going to remark that 3.5 inches so that we are sure that we have our exact square the way it should be. Then at our neck depth, I went also ahead to mark the 5 inches. Then I connect all the lines together. So we roll out a straight line on our neck depth, and we roll out a straight line on our neck width, and that is our square neckline. So I just went ahead to cut out our slope. Okay, so the square neckline has a square shape. So the next neckline is our boot neckline. This neckline sometimes can also be called canoe neckline. This neckline, the neck width is always wider than the neck is always wide, and the neck depth is also wide as well. Okay, so when you are done connecting it, it gives this boat neckline look. Okay, so at this point, I just mark our slope. All right, I didn't mark the slope before now. So most times, as I said, the boot neckline, the width is always wider than the depth, right? So when you are done, it gives this boat neckline look. All right, so it's giving boat shape, and that is our boat neckline. Okay, so the next neckline is our keyhole neckline. Now the keyhole neckline comes in different shape. We are going to first of all take our neck width, which I use 4 inches, and our neck depth also I used 4 inches for our neck depth. Okay, sorry, I used 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch, right? So after having this round neckline, I just came down by 3 inches, 4 inches. This very point absolutely depends on the keyhole design that you are about to create. There are so many keyhole designs. The keyhole itself is just having another neckline below the neckline, like something like this. So your keyhole can be a love shape, it can be a U shape like this one on the screen. Okay, so the keyhole itself is just having another opening below your basic neckline, right? So that is just what your keyhole is. It can have any shape whatsoever. It can have a straight line shape. It's just having another opening below your basic neckline opening. All right, so that is our keyhole design. So the next design is our sweetheart neckline. So our sweetheart neckline, I went ahead to mark 4 inches for our neck width, and I came down by 6 inches for our neck depth. All right, so after marking that, I duplicated that same 4 inches so that I can have a straight line. All right, so because after this we are going to cut our Queen Ann neckline, and I would love to show us the difference between our Queen Ann neckline and a sweetheart neckline. So from our 6 inches, I came up by 1.5 inches. Then at that 1.5 inches cuff, I just went ahead to give a gentle cuff, right, to connect it just like that. So this cuff can either be higher than this or it can be lower than this, depends on what you are recreating. Okay, so I'm just bringing out the line so that I can show us what I did. Okay, I came down by our 6 inches and I went up by 1.5 inch and I connect the lines together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the neckline now, and this is our sweetheart neckline. I also cut out the slope. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside while we mark our Queen Ann neckline. Now the Queen Ann neckline wants to look similar to the sweetheart neckline, but I'm going to show us the difference. Now when it comes to the Queen Ann neckline, whatever you have as your neck width is what you will have all the way down to the neck depth, right, before you take your cuff. But when it comes to the Queen Ann neckline, it swings towards the armhole area, which I'm going to show us right now. Okay, so I'm going to mark our neck width of 4 inches, 3.5 inches, because most times Queen Ann neckline is always narrow at the neck width compared to the sweetheart neckline. So at the neck depth, I also roll out the straight line at our 6 inches, but as I said, the Queen Ann neckline swings towards the armhole region. Okay, that is always the shape of the Queen Ann neckline. It swings towards the armhole region, while the sweetheart neckline is always straight all the way down to wherever the cuff will start. Okay, so from our armhole, we are just coming in by 3 inches from our armhole to form our Queen Ann line. All right, so that, my friend, is our Queen Ann neckline. When we roll out this line, this itself is Queen Ann neckline. So as I said, this neckline comes in different shapes. So your Queen Ann neckline can come like this. If your Queen Ann neckline is coming like this, you are just going to add that gentle cuff at the neck width to connect it to where you swing it towards the armhole, right? If your Queen Ann neckline is, some of them has a cuff at the edge, just like that. Okay, and if that is the design, just go ahead and cut it out. Okay, then some of them has a gentle cuff like that. What I showed us, the picture I showed us, that is what I just draft now. Okay, it has a gentle cuff like that. Okay, so if you have the type that have the sweetheart cuff, you go ahead and add it. So at this point, we are going to go ahead and add the sweetheart cuff. If you have watched till this point, please remember to subscribe and like this video so that you can be seeing more of this tutorial. So to bring out that cuff, Queen Ann cuff, we just went up by our 1.5 inches. Then from the 1.5 inch point, we connect it with a cuff to where our where we swing towards our shoulder point, right, to our armhole, sorry, and that is our Queen Ann neckline. So I just went ahead to cut it and I showed us the difference. Okay, all right, so the next neckline is our plum neckline. Now this is another neckline that looks similar to the V neckline. These are two necklines that look similar, right? But the difference between that V neckline and the plunge neckline is the plunge neckline is always lower than your bust point. Okay, that is what plunge neckline is. It's always lower than the bust point. If you see something that looks like a V neckline but it is lower than the bust point, know that that is your plunge neckline. So we are done drafting it. It's easy peasy. It's just the same way as you draft your V neckline, just that it is lower, and that is our plunge neckline. Our next neckline is the one shoulder neckline. So this neckline, you can find them mostly in English dresses. So make sure that when you are marking this neckline that you outline your center point very well, because you are going to make use of that your center line. So I first of all cut out our shoulder slope, and I just marked our neck width. I used 4 inches for the neck width. So I opened it up because I'll be needing that center point. Then from the center point, I marked the same 4 inches neck width to the other side of the shoulder, right? And I make sure I have 4 inches on both sides. Then the part that we are going to have one shoulder, I came down to halfway through the armhole. Now sometimes your one shoulder can look like this. One shoulder is simple, it's self-descriptive. It just means that it's only one side of your clothes has shoulder, right? So some of them looks like this. You can connect it to your halfway through. Then sometimes your one shoulder can also look like this, right? It can come down a little bit from the shoulder before you have that cuff. Then for the one we use on the top, for our top nail, this is what we are having. You connect it all the way to the armhole depth, all right? And that is our one shoulder. So we'll just go ahead and cut it. Okay, so our next neckline is our scallop neckline. So this scallop neckline, as I said, all this neckline comes in different forms, and I'm going to show you this scallop. So when you draw your gentle V, you now go ahead and give this cuff. This cuff is the scallop. Sometimes you can find scallop at the hem of your dress. You can even find it at your sleeve. The scallop is just, you know, that gentle cuff. And sometimes the neckline can also look like this. You know, you have your scallop. Sometimes it will have 2 scallop, it will have 3 scallop, and then it will have that cuff design, right? So sometimes your scallop neckline can look like this. So wherever you see a neckline that have this gentle cuff, you know, more than one, know that that is your scallop neckline. So we are done cutting our scallop necklines, and that is how it looks like. Whenever you see those cuff, know that that's your scallop. For our symmetric neckline, you start by marking your neck width. As usual, also make sure that you outline your midpoint. So after marking your neck width, I use 4 inches as my neck width. I also mark my neck width at the other way, also 4 inches. So at my neck width point, I came down by the neck depth, which I'm going to use 5 inches for the neck depth. Also, I also outline the neck width again. Then I roll out a straight line at that point from the neck width down to the 5 inches neck depth. All right, so from the other neck width, I'm just going to take a gentle curve. Your scallop neckline, your symmetric neckline can come like the picture that you just saw, and that is what I am drafting now at the moment. Okay, if your scallop neckline is the first picture, instead of using a straight line at your first neck width at this point, instead of using a straight line, right, after cutting out the cuff, right, instead of using a straight line there, you can also use a cuff line, or you can use a slant line, right, just like that, and that is still your asymmetric neckline. Our neckline is the halter neckline. All right, so your halter neckline, you first of all mark your neck width. Whatever, I used 3 inches as my neck width, and I used 3 inches as my neck depth. So we'll carve out our basic round neckline. So we'll measure out everything that we have there, and we divide it into 2, and I had 2¼ inches, right? So from that 2¼ inches, you connect it to your armhole depth. Okay, you can either use a cuff line or you can use a straight line. It all depends on your halter, right, design. Okay, so for the one that we are recreating, I just use a straight line and I connect it back to the 1/2 inches through my neck, my round neck, right, and that becomes our halter neckline. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and cut it. So when you are marking the back of this halter neckline, you are also going to do the same thing. You mark your 3 inches neck width, and you mark 1 inches for your neck depth, and you divide it into 2. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.